I don't know how they keep doing it, guys. I don't know. It's listen, I love the offseason more than most. It's like an unhealthy obsession to me. It is officially an unhealthy obsession to me. And I don't know how he keeps doing it. Like I just don't know. So Mongo has returned. The thing I said couldn't possibly happen after you re-signed Matt Milano and you re-signed Darrell Williams. We were looking at a week ago saying, okay, you got Matt Milano, Darrell Williams, John Feliciano. You're like, well, keep one. That's what you're going to be able to do. You're going to be able to keep one. Wrong on all fronts. And I have to thank Buffalo Mafia News because he's been killing it for me. Here's the deal, right? So John Feliciano is back on a 3-year, $17 million deal. That's what it is. 3 years, 17 mil. It's Buffalo Mafia Talk. I just updated Twitter handle. And it's 3 years, $17 million. What is going on? Anthony says, what is happening? And I couldn't agree more. Mongo is back. And Buffalo Mafia Talk messaged me. Is like, hey, Feliciano just signed an extension. I was watching Coming to America 2 with the wife. I had the baby. He was asleep. I handed the baby to the wife and I said, I have to go now. I am shocked. Pure, utter shock. Pepe Laugh says, do we still have any money left in the cap? I have no idea. I have no idea how much money is left at this point. Spot Track and overthecap.com don't report contracts that are not like the ink isn't dried yet, where they're not reported to the NFL. So the way the contract extensions get signed is they get signed and then they get sent to the NFL. The NFL processes them and then eventually the contracts get released, right? And that's when SpotTrack and overthecap.com and your other sites that track this stuff will upload that. The Milano contract, the Darrell Williams contract, the ink hasn't even dried on those yet. And now you have 3 years, $17 million for Feliciano. Now, mind you, we don't know right now what the signing bonus is. We don't know what bonuses there are. But, oh, my gosh, Chris Tironi says, big baller bean. That is totally true. 585 Farmy says, now get Trey Turner and the line is set. Andrew Evans, how do we fix the run blocking if it's the same people from last year plus Cody Ford? That is an outstanding question. And I think Buffalo's going to approach that with, there's 3 options. We've talked about this before, right? Either it was the offensive line, it was Josh Allen not checking out of plays that were stacked against the run, or was checking out of run plays for pass plays, or it's the running back room. I think the draft will probably tell us which one that is, right? Which one they feel. Obviously, they didn't have a lot of faith in Devin Singletary when he was losing snaps to TJ Yeldon. So I have a feeling the organization does not feel the line is the problem. I think that's apparent at this point, right? They don't feel the offensive line was the problem there. And I mean, you had a carousel of guards last year, right? You lose Feliciano at the beginning of the season, and he magically comes back. Like when a player has a pec injury, normally that is see you in 5 months, right? Feliciano comes back, but not only comes back, but comes back and has to play center his first game back a few snaps in to being back. Like the guy's just an animal. Like he's just a straight animal, and he did not want to leave Buffalo. And 3 for 17, I mean, I don't know what that says about the open market. The legal tampering period, if you guys haven't watched it yet, we just cut an episode on legal tampering. It was released early this morning where free agents can talk. Let me rephrase. Players with expiring contracts can talk to teams 2 days before the start of the league year, right? The Bills have 2 more days to get under the salary cap. They just have to be under the salary cap by March 17th. Okay. That means they have to have no money over the cap. Now, they're probably going to be gotten it pretty close at this point, right? But they just have to be under it. They just have to be $1 under the salary cap effective March 17th. That's all they got to do, right? They could talk to players effective. I think 1:00 on Monday is when they can officially start talking to players. And that's the deal. Ryan Brewer says, how much money or how do we have this much money? I mean, that's Wednesday's problem. Right. You could be over the cap right now. There's no law that says you can't be over the cap today. You just have to be under the cap by Wednesday. Right. You might see more restructurings, but I think if you're looking at the players that are taking pay cuts, the players that are coming back, right? what does that really say about One Bills Drive? I mean, you want to talk about building a winner. I saw a conversation earlier on Twitter, and it said you offer guys, let's win this deals, right? Like, let's go win it. That's it. That's what it was referred to as a go win it deal. Like, that is what Buffalo is offering. They're offering these players the opportunity to go win a Super Bowl. And it's a legitimate argument. It is a legitimate possibility. You're saying, listen, come back, let's restructure. We're going to have to give you a pay cut, but let's go win this damn thing. And the players are, you know what they're doing? They're not thinking that Buffalo is full of it. They're in. The players are in. It has never been more apparent than with the re-signing of Feliciano at 3 for 17, which is, again, you look at what this market might be. That might not be a great, that there might be guards out there who can play multiple offensive line positions. Because remember, he can play left guard, he can play center, he can play right guard, right? You can ask Mongo to do any one of those three things for you. This is huge, huge, huge. And on an open market, a guy who's that into winning, football means that much to him. You guys didn't get to hear it yet, but we had a great talk with Bruce exclusive. That'll be an episode that comes out later this week. And he mentioned that they want to build football people. Football has to be the most important thing to you at One Bills Drive. That's what they want. They want people that football is the most important thing. Damn, he's right. He's totally right about that. It's a great interview. You guys are going to want to see it. It's very much one that you could put in a time capsule. It was a great conversation. Bruce was phenomenal. And this is getting football people, not only getting football people, but keeping them, not letting those football people leave, right? Feliciano has bled for this team, and he came over as a guy who's just a guy. Like he worked with OG Bobby Johnson in Oakland at the time, and Bobby Johnson then had to stop it with the Colts. Feliciano was available. Feliciano comes in, and he was really competing with Wyatt Teller. That was the deal. They were going to sissy slap each other around for whoever was going to be the guard. It wasn't supposed to be a great competition. Everybody kind of expected Wyatt Teller to win the job because Wyatt Teller showed a lot of promise. Feliciano comes out and turned out to be probably your most valuable offensive line piece when things started to go bad. And things have gone bad across this offensive line for quite some time. And the one thing that was always there was Feliciano to bleed for this team to put it back together. And they gave him a 3-year, $17 million deal, which, you know what? It's probably below market value for him, right? It's probably below market value. And you know how you get guys to get contracts that are below market value? You win football games. You show them that you have a culture that can win football games. Players want to be here. That's what this is. Players want to be here. If the Bills had more money, we might have players raining down from the skies to get into the 716. The players that we have here don't want to go. They don't want to leave. How the hell did we get here? How did we get here? This has been a roller coaster, right? So Mongo comes back, and now we're looking at this point, the offensive line is basically done. You got Deion Dawkins at left tackle. It'll be debatable whether Cody Ford is at left guard or right guard with Feliciano. Feliciano could really slide at either guard spot. I don't think it matters too much. Feliciano will probably play right guard. Cody Ford, I assume, is probably going to play left guard. So that's just a guess, total guess. You already have Mitch Morse playing center. Your offensive line is done. What was seen as a huge need for you is done. No problems. All done. For those of you keeping score at home, Mario is actually in the chat keeping up. This is a crazy, crazy time. Pepe Laugh says, if we get John Ross, that's all we need for the rest of free agency. John Ross is an interesting one. You probably got to look at speed at the wide receiver position. John Ross is probably going to come pretty cheap. I'd have to imagine that he probably would. Steve Rose says, I think they draft a guard in the second round to develop for a year and for depth. My big one there is Landon Dickinson. Like, I'm in all on Landon Dickinson from Alabama. I'm all in. He tore his ACL in December, second, third round, but he played center. He can play guard. You get him into the program, you let him learn, and then when you come into 2022, you can look at Morris and really make a decision what your future is going to be with him, or moving on. Steven says, wrong, John. Bring back Smoke. there's nothing saying that players aren't going to return. You had to cut John Brown because realistically his contract could not be reworked without a total pay cut, right? He had bonus money that was going to be a problem. It made the most sense to completely cut that contract. But you could renegotiate with him. There's no law that says that Smoke isn't coming back. It is a business. The market's going to dictate whether he can come back or not. We will see. Hunter Smith, he was not good this year. People love his first year, and it clouds their judgment on him. He overperformed in his first year here, and last year was probably what he actually is. Hunter, I'm just going to harken back to the fact that he tore his pec and came back early from that, right? And pec muscles are a nasty injury because you just lose all power. So you're basically taking one half of your body and saying, okay, you're just going to kind of like hang on for this season. I don't put Feliciano's performance on his ability. Okay, I don't put Feliciano's performance last year on his ability. I think that's just my stance on it. Like I'm probably not negotiable on that. Fred says, Mario, where you at, bro? You ain't shopping for groceries while Bean is shopping for players, right? Listen, Mario is rolling hard with me. We just got a bunch of great episodes for this week. So again, keep up. We're going to see a lot of these. I really thought we were done with the re-signings. I had resigned myself to Mongo being gone. I thought that was that. Matthew Ronkowski says McBean came. Everyone bought in. And Stills is still on the roster. Well, Stills, again, a speed option. He has to walk away from Buffalo is the circumstance that we're looking at there. Bill Bester says, are there any improvements on the O-line that we needed that we didn't get? Would the blocking problems be fixed? Again, there's growth in every opportunity here, right, with Buffalo. So, yes, you're bringing back the same offensive line that struggled to run the football. Again, this is the organization making the statement saying, we don't think it's the line. We don't think it's the line. Scheme, maybe. Running back room, that's a maybe. Josh's development, checking out of stuff he shouldn't check out of, or checking into stuff he shouldn't check into, maybe. 3 realistic possibilities there. This is the organization making a statement. The offensive line is not the problem, which means that investing in that product, because this is an older offensive line now. You start looking at it, you start getting a little older, right? You got Morris, he is only 28, but again, you're invested in him for a few more years. You got Feliciano a 3-year deal. You're invested in him for a little bit longer. You just drafted Cody Ford, got Dan Dawkins on an extension. You got Darrell Williams on an extension, but you're going to have to start breathing new life into this. We know how this goes. They're going to have to start breathing new life into it. I'm still not believing that guard is off the board for Buffalo. Guard and center, I just don't believe are off the board for Buffalo. Steve Rose says, Bean got value on 3 key free agents. That speaks volumes to the players buying in. Yeah, absolutely it does. Paul Berg loves those brown icons. Listen, month 2 is a tough one. And when you become a member of Hashtag Nation, you'll notice that in the chat, people have different logos. That's just from the time that they've been with Hashtag. In month 2, poor Rick is rocking it right now. It's maroon. It's not brown. I wonder if Trey Adams wants to try his hand at DT. Clearly doesn't have a spot on the O-line. The fact is that Trey Adams was brought in as a developmental prospect, rotational tackle at this point. The Darrell Williams contract Buffalo can get out of soon. That's the neat thing about these extensions we talk about on episodes later this week. The Darrell Williams contract you can get out of pretty quick if things are going sideways for you. Finding tackles is really, really, really tough. Drafting tackles is Russian roulette. Like it is Russian roulette. There's one bullet in the gun and it's Russian roulette. So I think Trey Adams probably has a more likely path to playing the tackle position in the NFL with the way that he's gone, because Buffalo's clearly invested time in his health and his potential. I hate to use the word potential, but if I were Trey Adams, I wouldn't be upset about the Darrell Williams extension at all. Ryan Bates, Paul. Ryan Bates is the man. Ryan Bates is starting to fall out of not favor, but starting to fall out of utility. You're bringing Mongo back because Mongo is able to do for you what Ryan Bates also does for you. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to downsize the contribution that Ryan Bates has. Ryan Bates as a utility player across the offensive line, Great player to have, but Feliciano is very effective in that role for you as well. So 3 years, $17 million for John Feliciano, which again, market's coming up. We do not know what these contracts are going to look like, but it feels to me like this is below market value for what John Feliciano, the versatility that can give your offensive line. Come in, be a leader right away. I have a feeling like we're probably seeing a lot of value here. And again, we don't know what these contracts are going to look like. The contract for Milano per year maybe overpaying what guys on the free agent market are going to get. Or we may walk away after Wednesday when these contracts are really, really rolling in and say, damn, Buffalo did a good job. Like these contracts are good. We don't know. And that's what's kind of exciting about it is there's a lot of anticipation. We don't know what we don't know if these contracts are good compared to the crazy market we're about to see. We have no idea, but man, it feels good to be a Bills fan right now because the one thing that I think we'd all kind of resided to was we were probably kissing Mongo goodbye when you re-signed Williams. Really thought we were kissing Williams goodbye when you re-signed Milano. And there's Bean just pulling strings, right? Amazing. Wild time to be a Bills fan right now. Mario, Paul, we talk about systems. There's a reason Feliciano followed Johnson here. He's like the Beasley to an EP system. Offensive systems make a huge deal, right? And fitting in systems, specifically fitting in an EP system, a lot of teams struggle to install that system successfully, right? Many have tried. Like we look at the Belichick tree, right? And it's pretty thin. Many teams have tried to install the EP system and it's just not very functional for them. So when you find guys who fit the system, the priority is on retaining them. Buffalo Mafia Sports Talk. Jesse James would be an interesting pickup at TE. We got to start looking at who these value free agents are because we got to look at league minimum. We actually talk about that on another episode this week on how Buffalo could use. There's a veteran salary cap credit that's out there where you don't pay the full salary of a veteran. The NFL will give you a salary cap credit if you sign veterans and make them worthy of a rookie contract. We cut a whole episode on it. Buffalo's got to leverage that as they run into less and less and less salary cap space. So if you guys are into the numbers stuff, that's a great episode to check out because there's rules in the CBA that are going to give Buffalo credit if they follow this path to signing veteran free agents. It might only be 3 or 4, but you sign 3 or 4 of them, you save yourself $1 million in salary cap space along the way. Everybody's fine with that. I don't think anybody's mad. Matty Vision says, go Bills. Yeah, of course, go Bills, man. Of course. How much was Mongo's contract for? Spin 0481. That was 3 for 17. Again, bonus structures, not sure if there's any incentives or roster bonuses or workout bonuses. That's kind of dicey right now. I'm not sure what the physical contract looks like. Much like, Darrell Williams and Milano, we're kind of working off of the leak of what the contract is. So we got to wait a couple days until that's signed and in. But again, the Buffalo Bills do not have to be under the salary cap right now. So if you think this move puts them over the cap, totally fine. Doesn't matter. They don't have to be under the salary cap until Wednesday. So that's a big deal. Miguel Deval says Jonnu Smith. Everybody's in on Jonnu Smith. Bean did talk Ford up, so maybe he plans on trading him. Now that's an interesting conversation. Cody Ford was a tackle in college. He's got half a season at tackle for Buffalo and a quarter of a season at guard, or almost half a season at guard. I don't know. Maybe Cody Ford becomes a trade chip. But remember, when you start trading players on rookie contracts, that ultimately costs you salary cap space because their contracts are so cheap. Like Cody Ford's like $850,000. Like as far as base salary goes for a third-year players, yeah, he'd be entering year 3. He's got 2 accrued seasons, so his base salary is cheap. So when you start trading players for other players, and you're trading a guy that's on a rookie deal, ultimately it costs you salary cap space unless you're trading him for a rookie right around the same contract or right around the same, right around the same value. Did Jonnu Smith go to New England? No. Technically speaking, legal tampering doesn't start until tomorrow at 1:00. So you can't talk to players with expiring contracts until 1:00 Eastern Standard Time on Monday. But guys who were cut like John Brown, they could re-sign with anybody at any moment. That's just the way that works. They can re-sign with anybody at any moment. But this does call light. It looks like Buffalo's going to be looking for bargains, looking for value on those edge rushers, right? We know Buffalo's probably going to address the edge on the defense. So this move probably puts you into bargain basement shopping for your edge guys, put you into bargain basement shopping for linebacker depth, put you into bargain basement shopping for CB2 position. And when you start talking about those positions, the draft becomes a more likely place to get that. Again, I'm going to throw out a name. Y'all might not like it. I think Bruce Irvin, as just a pass rush specialist, makes a lot of sense, probably near league minimum. I don't like it. I'm just saying he's probably going to be available. And he's old as dirt. He's like 34 at this point. But I mean, when has that ever stopped Buffalo? Miguel Duvall says sign Trey Hendrickson, Jonnu Smith, and John Ross. Then draft the running back from Clemson. Thoughts on that, Paul? Running back, I do think this team is going to continue to address, and I don't think you need a bigger example than the AFC Championship game. I just don't think there's a bigger example of any of that. Mr. Hoffman, are you happy with all these moves so far? I don't know how you can not be happy with this. We're talking about a team that is not letting talent go. They're just like, nope, we know what we got. Just come in for a hug, guys. Come in for a big hug. It's going to cost you a pay cut, but come in for that big hug. And this is something that other teams fail to do, right? You look at Kansas City, they're hemorrhaging talent because they're in a bad contract spot. They've got like 3 defensive players making over $20 million that they can't really afford. They got a quarterback that just took like a $17 million restructure, which does ultimately cost you down the road later. Not that they seem to care about that right now. They're just trying to keep the wheels on the bus. Buffalo's not trying to keep the wheels on the bus. They're trying to keep the gas in the tank. And I think that's what's different here. And I think that's a good analogy to look at. Buffalo's not trying to keep the ship afloat. They're keeping that ship moving, right? That's all they're doing. Kansas City's trying to they're trying to keep the wheels on the bus before they all rattle off. Buffalo's not doing that. Buffalo's going, okay, we're in the right direction. We need to make sure that we're staying at that true north. We're going to keep putting gas in that tank. We know these players work. Let's go. We'll keep going. We're just going to keep moving. Crazy day to be a Bills fan. All right, so let's recap. So you're starting offensive line. Again, guard position. We don't know exactly how it'll play out, but your combination is going to be Dion Dawkins at left tackle, either Cody Ford or John Feliciano at left and right guard. Mitch Morris is back after a contract restructure, and Darrell Williams has been re-signed at right tackle. This team is convinced that running the football either wasn't the problem because the source wasn't the offensive line, or they feel they've got a lead on what's going to fix that. Now, is a running back at 30 going to fix that? I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see what free agency brings. There are a lot of speed running backs that are going to be available in free agency for basically nothing. There's going to be a lot of speed wide receivers on the free agency market for basically nothing. You wait till day 2, day 3, day 4 of free agency. There's going to be guys out there, very good players, who are going to be like, I'll take league minimum to come to Buffalo. Like, yeah, I can make $200,000 more dollars here, but why am I going to go and revel with the Jets and win 3 football games for $200,000 more? That's going to end my career. You come into Buffalo, you used to be a widow maker. That you came to Buffalo, it's because things were done. There was a point where that was the culture. This was the last ride. This was the last stop before the career train ended, right? Nope. Players are going to want to be here at lower contracts because you win. You know what builds your value? Winning. Even if you only play 7 games for the Bills, right? Let's say you play 7 games, you get hurt, hamstring takes you out at wide receiver. John Ross, perfect example, right? Goes to Buffalo, plays 7 games, performs reasonably well, only plays 7 games because he pulled his hammy. Buffalo goes and wins the Super Bowl. John Ross's Super Bowl ring, he's now championship caliber. John Ross is going to get a better deal next year. May not be with Buffalo, but John Ross has now reestablished value. Winning reestablishes value. These players know that, and that's why they know a good thing when they got it. They're not going to leave. It's costing them money to stay here. Let's just be real about that. It is costing them money to stay here. Man, it feels good. What a time to be a Bills fan, guys. What a time to be a Bills fan. Let's clap it up for Buffalo. Let's give Sean McDermott the clap. Although I will say Jimmy Dugan said it best. Avoid the clap, Jimmy Dugan. That's good advice. I'm all about the clap, guys. When it's Sean McDermott. That's right. All right, Paul from hashtag. Love you guys. Unreal stuff. Talk to you soon.